Reading can transport us to different worlds and expand our imagination. Whether it's fiction or nonfiction, books offer knowledge, entertainment, and a chance to explore new perspectives. Pick up a book and dive into a captivating story. Education plays a vital role in shaping our future. It equips us with knowledge, skills, and critical thinking abilities. By pursuing education, we open doors to better opportunities and enhance our understanding of the world around us. Exercise offers numerous benefits for our bodies and minds. Regular physical activity can help strengthen our muscles, improve cardiovascular health, and reduce stress levels. It's recommended to engage in at least 30 minutes of exercise most days of the week. When traveling, it's essential to pack smart. Make a checklist of the items you need, including your passport, toiletries, and clothes suitable for the destination. Don't forget to double-check your travel documents and arrive at the airport early. When traveling, it's essential to pack smart. Make a checklist of the items you need, including your passport, toiletries, and clothes suitable for the destination. Don't forget to double-check your travel documents and arrive at the airport early. The weather can be unpredictable. One day it's sunny and warm, and the next day it's rainy and cold. We need to be prepared for different weather conditions, so we can dress appropriately and plan our activities accordingly. A single research study rarely gives us enough certainty to say that its results will always be true in every situation. Instead, research is an ongoing process. It's based on many different findings and explanations that, when combined, help us understand educational matters in general. Over time, these understandings lead to the development of theories. In order for a culture to exist and work properly, people who belong to that culture need to follow its rules and norms. This means they should want to obey and fit in. To do this, they first need to understand and accept the norms and values that define what's considered normal in their culture. Where a restaurant is located in the city can greatly affect how well it does. Once a restaurant is set up, it can't change its location. It can only try to make it easier for customers to reach them. Restaurant owners often argue with local authorities about providing parking spaces to make it more convenient for their customers. When writing a book, the author needs to choose how to arrange and organize the content to match the reflective nature of the work. The book often repeats and builds upon ideas about research, theory, and practice as the story unfolds. The colors used in old-time photographs were influenced by the dyes and pigments available at that time. These colors had a big impact on the overall look and feel of the photos, reflecting the style and period in history they belonged to. Blue whales are the biggest mammals alive. There are different reports about their maximum size, but Antarctic blue whales have been known to grow up to 100 feet long and weigh more than 150 tons. Sadly, their numbers have drastically decreased due to whaling activities. In our bodies, tissues come together to make organs like the brain, heart, lungs, kidneys, and liver. Each organ has a unique shape and is made of different kinds of tissues that work together. For instance, the heart is mostly made of a special type of muscle tissue that contracts in a rhythmic way to make the heart pump. Two sisters were at a dinner party when the conversation turned to upbringing. The elder sister started to say that her parents had been very strict and that she had been rather frightened of them. Her sister, younger by 2 years, interrupted in amazement. "What are you talking about?" she said. "Our parents were very lenient." Two sisters were at a dinner party when the conversation turned to upbringing. The elder sister started to say that her parents had been very strict and that she had been rather frightened of them. Her sister, younger by 2 years, interrupted in amazement. "What are you talking about?" she said. "Our parents were very lenient." The Office of Personnel Management was the target of the attack, but data from nearly every government agency was stolen. U.S. investigators say they believe Chinese hackers were behind the breach. Not a lot is known about how the transportation of goods by water first began. Large cargo boats were being used in some parts of the world up to 5,000 years ago. However, sea trade became more widespread when large sailing boats traveled between ports, carrying spices, perfumes and objects made by hand. The bill calls for the establishment of the National Landslide Hazards Reduction Program within 1 year of becoming law. The program serves numerous functions, including to identify and understand landslide hazards and risks, reduce losses from landslides, protect communities at risk of landslides hazards, and improve communication and emergency preparedness. The findings of modern research support the view that the evolution of primitive men and its culture should be regarded as unity. Yet this unity is exceedingly complex, and future research will doubtless enable us to make finer distinctions between the periods that people composed it. It seems that language appeared from nowhere since no other species has anything resembling human language. However, Other animals do possess basic systems for perceiving and producing sounds that enable them to communicate. These systems may have been in place before the appearance of language. Scholars build their own personal libraries to support not only particular projects but also general reading in their field. They buy or make photocopies of materials when possible, so they can consult them frequently, mark pages and write annotation on them. When moving into a new field, they add to their collections, usually concentrating on primary texts. Heart disease is the leading cause of death for both men and women in the United States. While often thought of as one illness, heart disease is actually an umbrella term that covers a range of heart conditions. It includes diseases of the blood vessels, including coronary artery disease and peripheral artery disease, and so on. As technology keeps growing, political and economic leaders have utilized cinema in changing and shaping people's outlooks either for their own benefit or for the benefit of the people. Quality translations are also readily available and extremely affordable for everyone these days, which makes it easy for filmmakers to reach their target audiences from all corners of the world in their mother tongue. Computer and smartphone-based treatments appear to be effective in reducing symptoms of depression, and while it remains unclear whether they are as effective as face-to-face psychotherapy, they offer a promising alternative to address the growing mental health needs spawned by the COVID-19 pandemic. Categorization is the brain's tool to organize nearly everything we encounter in our daily lives. Grouping information into categories simplifies our complex world and helps us to react quickly and effectively to new experiences. The tropics are becoming hotter due to a combination of warming associated with deforestation and climate change, and that can reduce the ability of outdoor workers to perform their jobs safely. Researchers are estimating how many safe working hours people living in the tropics have lost due to local temperature change associated with loss of trees. There were various explanations for volcano behavior before the structure of the Earth mantle as a semi-solid material was developed. For decades, awareness that compression and radioactive materials may be heat sources was discounted, and volcanic action was often attributed to chemical reactions and a thin layer of molten rock near the surface. Recycling is a crucial practice that helps conserve natural resources and reduce pollution. By converting waste materials into reusable resources, recycling minimizes the amount of waste sent to landfills. The word radical, from the Latin word for roots, means anyone who advocates fundamental change in the political system. Literally, a radical is one who proposes to attack some political or social problem by going deep into the social or economic fabric to get at the root cause and alter this basic weakness. The whole purpose of making notes is to aid your learning. It is important to go back over them within a day of making them to make sure they make sense and make them legible for future revisions. Also, going back over them should highlight the key questions of areas in which you want to do further reading. We believe in the inherent value of research in the humanities and social sciences. And our research data agenda is given by the pursuit of new knowledge that will be of benefit of Australia and the world. We offer one of the most comprehensive programs in the humanities and social sciences in Australia and the Asian Pacific region. COVID-19 pandemic is linked to early onset of puberty in some girls. Several studies suggest that the number of girls starting puberty early has more than doubled amid the coronavirus outbreak, and experts are unsure about exactly why. When countries assess their annual carbon emissions, they count up their cars and power stations, but bushfires are not included, presumably because they are deemed to be events beyond human control. The core of the problem was the immense disparity between the country's productive capacity and the ability of people to consume. Great innovations in productive techniques during and after the war raised the output of industry beyond the purchasing capacity of U.S. farmers and wage earners. Tesla's theoretical work formed the basis of modern alternating current electric power systems. Thomas Edison promised him almost $1 million in today's money to undertake motor and generator improvement. Yellow is considered as the most optimistic color, yet surprisingly, people lose their tempers most often in yellow rooms and babies will cry more. The reason may be that yellow is the hardest color for eyes to take in, so it can be overpowering if overused. The elephant is the largest living land mammal. During evolution, its skeleton has greatly altered from the usual mammal, designed for two main reasons. One is to cope with the great weight of huge grinding cheek teeth and elongated tusk, making the skull particularly massive. The other is to support the enormous bulk of such a huge body. Few things in the world produce such amazement as one's first glimpse of the Grand Canyon. It took around more than 2 billion years to create this vast wonder in some places. 17 miles wide, largely through the relentless force of the Colorado River, which runs 277 miles along its length and a mile beneath its towering rims. Global warming is defined as an increase in the average temperature of the Earth's atmosphere. This trend began in the middle of the 20th century and is one of the major environmental concerns of scientists and governmental officials worldwide. The changes in temperature result mostly from the effect of increased concentrations of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. Lincoln's apparently radical change of mind about his war powers to emancipate slaves was caused by the escalating scope of the war, which convinced him that any measure to weaken the Confederacy and strengthen the Union war effort was justifiable as a military necessity.